Freedom lovers, welcome. Today's video is more of a therapy for myself than my usual stuff. Finding it increasingly more difficult to survive and really have no one to talk to in life. So I make these videos for anyone who wants to listen. I'm sure there's not even a lot of people that listen to this, but whatever. I talk to someone and it helps me a little bit. Not much, but it helps. So basically what I'm going to talk about is my background and my parents and my wife's parents. And then I'll roll into society. It's kind of like a State of the Union, I guess, from just a regular citizen. So currently right now, I have a mother that lives in Utah as a Mormon because she has no other way to survive. I have a father who I've never known at all who lives in Oregon, uh, pretty close to me actually, and he's never spoken to me in his entire life. I spoke to him for the month of March in 2020, so it was like the very first outbreak of COVID. It was like that very first month, and that's where I had found him because I had gone on to Ancestry, and Ancestry had said, this guy's like a 99% match for you. So I contacted him, and he was just an animal. He was, your typical Republican, trying to be very, very religious, but was just not a good man by any means. So he decided he didn't want anything to do with me after I found him after 45 years, basically. He had abandoned my mother and I when I was just a baby. It's the craziest story that I come to find out from him in that 1 month that I got to know him. He basically told me that he had met my mother when they were younger, and they spent 2 weeks together just talking. They just met and just spent 2 weeks talking. And in that time period, I was conceived. So they went about their business after 2 weeks, and she came back to him a year later and said, this baby's yours. And he said, I'm not going to raise no baby. That baby ain't mine. So he walked away from us, and she never remarried. She never did drugs. She never really was ever with another man. Later on, when I got to be 20, she finally was with a man for a short time where she had another couple of babies, and immediately had to leave from that relationship because it was not good. It was very toxic. And so she fled in the middle of the night. So she's really only been the only person I've had in my life, and she's not a very happy person. She's very, very critical of everyone. She's had a tough life, and she just doesn't know how to be kind to someone like me. So she avoids me. She always has. She never talks to me. She certainly would never live near me or help me or, consider me in any way. And she's all I've ever had. The father that lives close to me here in my own state, uh, you know, talked to me a little bit in that month to tell me how they met and whatever, and then he kept talking bad about her. He kept talking about what like a she was with many guys, is how he would put it. And how did I know that was you were my baby? This is what he told me years later when I found him at 45, when I was 45, and basically wanted to say that my mother was with lots of men and he wasn't going to take care of me because he didn't know who she was with. And the fact is, she was never with anybody. She was only with him and wanted to have a family with him and begged him for that. But it was easier for him to just say that she was with many men. And so that started to make me angry. I was like, you really don't know my mother. Like, you know nothing about her when you say those things. So after listening to that over and over and over many times, I finally got angry and I demanded that he call to her and apologize and say thank you for her raising me by herself, which she at least deserves. She never got any kind of alimony because they never were married. There was never any child support because she couldn't afford an attorney to go prove that our DNA was the same. This is like back in the 80s when like the DNA was still an infant thing, and always getting an attorney to get child support is very expensive. So she didn't have the means, and so there was no money. There was never another dad, a stepdad. There was no money. It was always just poverty. And to this day, both of them still have nothing to do with me. Like my mother won't talk to me, and my father won't talk to me, and I've done nothing ever. Like I was just an innocent baby. I met my wife when I was early in my, 18, 19, and we've been married for 30 years, just trying to survive together. She has a couple of parents that she has a father that really doesn't care about myself or her or our family, our two kids. We moved all the way over here into this state, just a few doors down from him, to try to help him, because he's an older guy and would probably need some help. And he's just been a complete jackass since we've been here. It's now been a year and a half, couple years, and he just ignores us. And we live two doors down. Came here for his benefit, and he acts like he hates us. Never talks to us. And she has her mother who lives over in the South, and she's right now dealing with being a full-blown alcoholic. She's living by herself. She lost her husband. She lost everything, and she's just spending what savings she has living in a trailer, in the southern half of the U.S., where it's warm. And she's just drinking herself to death. She didn't want anything to do with our family. She certainly doesn't come here and act like a grandma. She comes here and acts like an alcoholic. And it's like we've had to keep her from coming here. She's angry and hostile and certainly loves to be abusive. And unless you're going to let her drink and ruin your life, she'll have nothing to do with you. So I raise this and I bring this to people. I made a video probably 20 years ago where I said, I'm the canary in the coal mine. And if all the jobs that are high paying are sent away in the United States, and a person like me can't get a job, I'm intelligent. I don't do drugs. I'm a genius. I'm genius level. I make Einstein look like he's got no brain. I make Jesus look like a thug. But even though these things are true, I can't get my parents to talk to me. I can't get my wife's parents to talk to me. Nobody. We have nobody. We have no parents because they're just useless human beings. They're all four of them still alive right now. And they have ignored us for the last 30 years, and they will ignore us for the next 30 years till they're dead. And it blows my mind. Animals in the forest do not do that to their young. A bird may push its baby out the nest to try to get it to fly, but it doesn't just desert it. There is no animal I've ever witnessed in nature that deserts its babies. When I see a human baby fall in at the orangutan pen at the zoo, it takes care of that baby. If it was the other way around, an orangutan fell into a cage of humans, the poor thing would be dead. I have more respect for animals. I see more love from dogs than I do from my own parents. So this ultimately is the problem with society. This is why American society is crumbling. This is why nobody does anything about anything. When parents hate their kids for no reason, there are some serious, serious problems. And then so not only do we have to deal with the hatred from our parents for no reason at all, if we just been good people, we put ourselves through college, we borrowed money from the government, we didn't ask anybody for help from any of our parents, partly because we knew we wouldn't get it, but we just wanted to do things on our own. Try to make parents proud. Parents that will never be proud no matter what we do. So we've never had anyone to give us advice or be a mentor or know. They couldn't anyway. Even if they were kind and loving and showered us with affection, they wouldn't know. They never had education. They never had jobs. They never had anything in their time either. And they were part of the bustling middle class. Our parents were born just at the end of right at the end of the Depression and the World War, about 1945, 1950s when they were born. So they've had opportunity to be part of the middle class their whole lives. And you know what they did? They had to start businesses of their own. The best time the United States has ever had to make money, basically from 1945 until 1980, when Reagan took office and destroyed the country, in that time is when the middle class grew. There was high-paying jobs here where a man could take care of his family off of one income, have a nice home. All he had to do was just go to work every day and do his job. But that has not existed for quite a while. And even when that existed, my parents, my wife's parents, they still were not all that successful. They did, drugs and alcoholism. Not my mother. She never did any of that stuff, but that runs on my wife's side. So, parents can't even take care of their kids. And certainly the rest of the society in the United States isn't going to take care of its own people either. So we have no parents to help, to even talk to us, listen to us, give us some solace. Nothing. Always just told how lazy and stupid we are because we're not rich. It's look at them. They're not rich either. Are they lazy and stupid? I've always found it interesting how American parents are so willing to tell their kids how horrible they are. And it's wait a minute, I come from you. How self-destructive is that? What self-loathing is that to tell your children they're garbage just because they come from you? It's absolutely mind-boggling. So we've just existed for 30 years trying to work whatever jobs we could. My wife and I, we put ourselves through college to get IT degrees. And not a lot of Americans know this. I had to find this out the hard way when I tried to work in the field of IT. But everyone that I interviewed with, when I moved myself to the Silicon Valley in California, they all told me, hey, we send all our jobs to India. We got a little 2-month job for you to clean up some stuff, but it doesn't pay very well, and it'll be over in 2 months. And those jobs were far and few. And it's because it's all been sent away to India. So I did more research as I've just been left destitute, basically, by my own country, and I'm intelligent. So as I did more research, I found out that not only had technical jobs been sent to India, but manufacturing has all been sent to China. And then anything else in between, medicine and law, that has also been sent to India. There is literally no more high-paying jobs in the U.S. It's kind of funny. I feel like when I was born in 74, from that point on, that's it. All the high-paid jobs were sent away, and the United States was on that straight decline. And that's where I've had to survive, in that situation, where Americans don't care about Americans at all. They actually hate each other more than Russians hate Americans. It's mind-boggling to think about, but it's true. Absolutely true. Americans hate Americans with a passion. The other thing I got to hear in my few interviews when I was in the Silicon Valley in my youth was, why would I hire Americans? They're a fat, lazy, stupid, too expensive, and evil. I'll just go get a bucket of them from India for nothing. Or from China for nothing. That's what I've had to hear in my time of trying to be a successful American. So I've always said I was the canary in the coal mine, and if a guy like me can't do it, ain't nobody in the U.S. gonna do it. And now that I'm almost 50, what have I watched happen in the state of this union? Well, we're always lied to and told stupid, idiotic crap like trickle-down economics, send the jobs overseas will make us a rich, powerful nation. What? It doesn't take a total mindless idiot to see that that's not true. That's not going to work. Those are the dumbest plans I have ever heard, and they are fortified, entrenched in this country. Now both parties, red and blue, believe sending jobs to other countries is going to make us a richer nation. Is it? Can you look around and see the richness, or do you see tents everywhere on the sidewalk and complete ghost towns of cities that used to exist, but as soon as the manufacturer of that town moved out, the town died? This is all you see in the U.S. now. It's a dilapidated wasteland where corporations who live in the U.S. somehow incorporate in another country so they can avoid paying taxes. So they make billions every year, but don't pay any taxes to the United States. And then they send all the jobs away. Like, come on, dude. There's no government. There's no corporate anything to work at. Adults are not going to make families and a mortgage and a car payments and be working at Walmart or Amazon or Starbucks. It's just not going to work. It is not going to work. And so now there's a whole movement for tiny homes. And this is like the only like peace of mind I can get because my society is just a complete failure, starting with my own parents and my wife's parents too. So we're scrambling, trying to find, hey, is there any way we could somehow maybe make enough to get ourselves at least a tiny home to live in? You know, we're being pushed constantly towards being homeless. And there's like no way to fight it. There's nothing you can do. Everybody loves to talk about, as I've been researching a lot on the homeless as soon as I started looking at Ukraine. I'm usually a guy that can't stand the news because I don't like to see news stories constantly about kids dying. And that's all there really ever is. So I can't look at that mess. I'm a man of God. I'm a man of life. And I just cannot look at that mess. But as soon as I started researching Ukraine, I got into looking at homelessness. And man, it is just, it's unreal. It is unreal. I'm so disappointed that I live in a country that cares so little for its own people. Like, I imagine in China, you know, there's 1 billion people over there. Somebody must care about somebody, you know? Parents must care about the kids, something. You know, even if the government doesn't like its people, which it kind of looks like it does, like, it looks like they care about one another over there. They're not going to send their jobs to other countries like morons. They know what that would do to them. I just wish I could live in a country like China where it seems like the government cares about the people, even though they don't seem to have human rights. I don't see a lot of human rights here either. But I do see the government over there investing in the businesses, and the businesses are thriving. They make electronics. They lead the globe in production of everything. They're obviously doing something right that we're not. And I think part of that was this stupid Americans deciding we're going to send the jobs over to China to save money for ourselves so we can be more rich. And it's not going to benefit the United States at all. And that's exactly what's happened now over 30 years. This place is getting destitute. Like, people are literally living in the forest. We're going back to like feudal times. And nobody does or says anything about it. We're all scrambling now to find a place in the forest to plant our tiny homes, hoping we can have some peace where we can own something that we're not thrown out of. And that's getting increasingly hard to find. Like, if the monster just wants to say he's not going to zone for tiny homes, guess what? We're all still stuck into like living on the street. Like, it feels like the United States will not be happy until all of its people are living on the street. I'm sure everybody has someone in their family that has issues with money or jobs or being homeless. It's like affecting everyone, but no one's going to do anything about it. But then I look and I say, well, my own parents don't care about me. What does everyone else's parents say when their kid's about to be homeless? What? I hate you, get out. I want you out at 18. You're not who I want you to be, so I want nothing to do with you. Like, my God, man. Really? In our society in America, we don't get parents. We don't get government. We don't get jobs, decent jobs from the corporations. We get nothing. We're just left here like animals to figure out how to survive on our own. And I'm so sick and tired because all the research I've been doing about homelessness, all these idiotic responses, they're on drugs, they got mental issues. It turns out if a society that you do your best for kicks you to the curb no matter what and forces you to be homeless, that is going to affect how you think severely. It is going to make people, a lot of them who are not as strong as like I am, because I'm a man of God, most people are wrecked from that reality. And that causes the despair that leads to the mental problems. And you know what I say even? A society that's so willing to send its own people to die in the street is mentally disturbed. That's why it's so easy for everyone to just write it off and say, oh, they're out on the street because they're crazy and on drugs. Dude, if you had a society, which you do, that is more than willing to send you out onto the curb because you're a good, hardworking person, very quickly you're going to develop I want a way out of this pain, and there you are on the drugs, and I can't believe this is being done to me. My society is insane, and now you have been infected with the insanity. That's how it really works. Because quite honestly, if you give someone a home to live in, you let them uh, have some peace and comfort in their life, they don't go crazy. They don't do drugs. They don't do crime. They want to participate in society like we all do, but are told no. I can't tell you how many Republican men I've met in my career of trying to be a programmer. Well, they say, what do you do? Oh, I'm a programmer. No, you're not. Excuse me, what? No, you're not. We hire people in India to do that, so you're not a programmer. Literally, that's what I'm told. It's like, how does anyone express themselves in American society when you're just told, hey, this is what I do, this is what I love to do? No, you don't. No, you're not. How many people go to a miserable job because there's nothing else? But they're creative and talented people in so many different ways. Artists, musicians, programmers, all these wonderful people with all these skills and abilities are just getting thrown to the curb. Or have to go work in Amazon to do nothing, no skills. I was so disgusted. I applied to be a programmer for Amazon recently. So a guy from India gets on the Zoom call with me and says, "Yeah, we want you to jump through a bunch of hoops in order to get this job." And I was like, "I don't even know what it pays, and you want me to jump through hoops?" I go, "I got a degree. Like, I worked hard for that, and I owe money on that. Like, I don't need to jump through hoops. I just need to go make you money. Let me do that." No, that's not good enough. So I said, well, listen, I realize that you have a lot of people to choose from, because the United States loves to hire people from India. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, I'm from India, but I totally disagree. Oh my God, really? So then he decides he doesn't want to hire me, says, thanks very much, whatever. The very first thing I do is I turn on YouTube to go watch some YouTube. And what's the very first commercial that comes up? Hello, I'm a girl from India and I'm a programmer for Amazon. And it was a commercial about buying a home. Turns out only Chinese and people from India, Indians, can buy homes in America because they're the only ones that get the job. The jobs go to their countries, they come here with a bunch of money, and now they can live how Americans used to when I was growing up. So this behavior really, really puts people in a bad spot. And what I'm really sick and tired of is listening to the idiocy of they want to be homeless. They want to be on drugs. They want to be mentally. No, they don't. In fact, what we are supposed to do as a society is say, if we have that many people that are homeless, we need to do something to fix it. If we have this many people that are out of work, we need to do something to fix it. Not be blaming people. That's just an easy scapegoat to not have to do anything in this world, to not have to work. It's just a laziness. It's a scapegoat for laziness. And probably stupidity as well. But I'm none of those things. I am genius level intelligence that has solutions, but nobody listens. It's like, it really sucks because if you think about it, if a democracy is where the majority rules and smart people in the minority, guess what? We have the society that we have now, where the intelligent people are fending for themselves in the forest because they're simply outvoted by cavemen who literally want to put us all back in the caves. That's where I see us going. Like, it's unreal. We're going backwards at an alarming rate towards the end of the cliff when we're supposed to be going forward. Part of all of this, with the main issue, is sending high-wage jobs to Mexico, China, India, the lowest wage nations on earth. Like, they didn't just go to Japan, they didn't go to Germany, the biggest economic powerhouse in Europe, and say, hey, do our high-paid jobs. No. They go to the poorest of the poorest. Hey, let's go find the ones that pick trash in India, the lowest caste system we can find. Let's go hire them to do the programming. And I've always said, and I'll say it again now, What happened to labor laws? Like, we had labor unions that were very, very strong at the end of the Depression and World War. So they've been chipped away over time by the Republicans and the wealthy elite. The oligarchs, American oligarchs, been chipped away. They got rid of Glass-Steagall, which is what they first implemented after the Depression so that banks couldn't run like a casino and lose your money when you had an insurance claim. They separated insurance and banking so that if you had an insurance claim, they could still pay out. And they went and removed that. So now they take insurance and banks, run it like it's dice on the the back alley, or it's Vegas, Vegas Strip, and that's how banks and insurance run now. And so if insurance makes a bad investment, the bank and the insurance lose the money. So if you have a claim on your insurance, it ain't getting paid. So the root of all problems here is that the jobs that are high paying have all been sent to other countries. You cannot do law. When I was a kid, I used to hear all the mothers tell their daughters, "Hey, you got to marry a doctor or a lawyer." It's so horrible that they would tell, but that women weren't allowed to work at that time. Back in the 50s, and Leave It to Beaver and those type of TV shows, like, women were not allowed in the workplace. Now, they're the only ones working. Society said, we're going to send all the jobs everywhere, and if there is anything left to do here, we'll pay women to do it because we always are able to pay them less. And women are like, I got babies to feed, so I'll go ahead and kill myself working, 12 hours a day at minimum wage, $7.50, because I got babies. Like, they care, so they run themselves into the ground because society is forcing them to, because society ain't going to hire a man. They're going to send it to another country. Then incorporate in a foreign country so they can not pay taxes. And then they get tax breaks? How the hell does that work? Our government takes tax money from the poor, throws it to the rich who don't pay any taxes just so they can buy back their stocks and increase their wealth. What? You take from the poor and you give it to the rich? So, things are not getting better. They're only getting worse. People cannot live and work at Walmart, nor should they have to. We were always lied to when we were young and told that, hey, anything you want to do, you can do it in America. Yeah, if you want to work hard enough and you're smart enough, whatever you want to do, yeah. It's total lies, dude. Total lies. I think that was just said to foreigners to try to get them to come here, because once the foreigners get here, it's like a trap. It's like a death trap. You come here from Mexico trying to make some money, leave your family, risk yourself in this strange country you know nothing about. And what do? Well, they basically take advantage of you. There are like coyotes that work in the United States, and you can Google this on YouTube. Coyotes in the United States that basically take foreigners and treat them like it's human trafficking, basically. They load them into a truck, 50 at a time, 20 at a time. They take them down to the local sweatshop, and they get abused there for nothing, and sometimes are trafficked to other people. They are forced into prostitution. I mean, horrible, evil things. And so, and that's the fate of the people trying to come here and have a better life. Mexicans, I've watched Mexicans on YouTube that wish they had never come to the United States. I have just recently watched as Americans are trying to flood Mexico because they can't afford it here anymore. Dude, Mexico's going to have to put up a wall to keep Americans out. This is the State of the Union of the United States in 2022. We just live in a corrupt, immoral, leech society. And the result of that are good people living in tents on the street now. Dying in tents on the street is more like it. Nobody lives out there. It's a very short lifespan when you have to be out in the elements and being stolen from and attacked by other crazy people that are on drugs. They would drive anybody to suicide or to do drugs or whatever you could to escape it. And that's what everyone's trying to do. But do we band together and vote for a third party? Do we just go burn down the Capitol and say enough is enough? Do we go burn down the mansions of the rich and say enough is enough? No. We just go die in the forest and on the sidewalk. What are we doing, our patriotic duty? I just don't understand, man. I really don't. I'm a man of God and I care about all life, even evil life. Because evil life can be rehabilitated or at least used for a better purpose than just being evil. So, I know nobody listens, nobody will watch this, nobody will share it, nobody will care. But I just want to tell the world before it kills me and puts me on the street that this is why people are homeless. It's because if you have parents who are ridiculous and abandon you, and you have to do it all from like yourself with no investment from anyone, I just want to say that every time I've ever talked to someone about the social programs that this country truly needs to make sure people are taken care of no matter what, the same stupid question comes out of the mouths of the Republicans every time. Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for it? The answer is the people that can. And here's the thing. People with money should be intelligent enough. I know they're not because, look at the society we have. If they were intelligent, they would see paying high rates of taxes on money that they don't care about anyway. It's not going to change their lives if they lose that money anyway. Paying rates of taxes that are investments in their fellow human beings. That is going to make a better life for anyone that's got a lot of money. Because if anyone who's got a lot of money doesn't want to invest in having a clean and safe surroundings, every time they step out of their mansions, it's going to be into a filthy pile of mess like it is now in LA and all San Francisco and all these places. And they're just going to have to deal with crime and being robbed and they're going to be like living in the ghetto in their mansions. So I suggest, so that rich people don't have to live like they're in the ghetto in their mansions, which is ridiculous. Even right now in Compton, South Central LA, some of the poorest place on earth, those homes are getting to be worth $1 million just because of the money game. Who would pay $1 million to live in a place where you could die in the first 5 minutes of trying to move in? Who? So I suggest rich people, unless you want filth surrounding your home and eventually just breaking in and, you living basically in a ghetto in a rich neighborhood, you invest in your fellow man without question, without, you force it on your government if they're too impotent to do it. There should be billionaires right now on the news saying, if our government's too stupid to do it, I'm going to go ahead and donate, $5 million to an organization that builds tiny homes, or some organization that is into democratic workplace that stays in the community, not shipping jobs to other countries. Come on, man. Whoever can assist needs to assist. So when I get this idiotic question from these dumb Republicans about who's going to pay for it, the people who can. That's who's going to pay for it. It's called investment in your own safety and security. And if you can't get past that selfish aspect of it, well, how about helping your fellow man? That's even a better reason, right? Forget about your selfishness and you want your, happiness and whatever with your wealth. Okay, but could you even step out of that for a second and think, hey, I'm going to take care of my fellow man who's starving and living in a tent on the street? I mean, we're all Americans, dude. We're all human beings. I have nothing, and I would love to just go build tiny homes for my job. I would love to just switch doing that. I'd love to just get away from IT, which has left me destitute. And I'd love to just go build tiny homes for myself, my family, and others like us that need homes. I've recently been researching all the places you can put a tiny home, and there ain't a lot of places you can. The monster wants to make sure you're part of that money game, so he's going to force you into $6,000 a month on a dilapidated, nasty home in Compton. $6,000 a month, really? It's just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. And I know there's not a lot of Americans that can pay this money. There's just not. There's not enough high-wage jobs here. There's no manufacturing. There is no technology or programming. There is no medicine. There is no law. It is all, you can literally call up a firm in India right now and get cheap medicine, medical advice. You can get legal services for your state in the United States. They're a specialist in the United States law in your local place in India. Law, medicine, technology, the highest wage jobs, and of course manufacturing, the highest wage jobs that actually put America on the map for the last 100 years is now just gone, wiped away. Basically, when Reagan came in, he took it all away, and that was like when I was born. So I got to grow up with this single parent mother, useless father, no family whatsoever. Mother had no family at all. She was adopted, and her adopted family hated her because she was adopted, so she had no family. The entire society is useless, and it's just unreal. It is really unreal. So this is the reasons, my fellow Americans, these are the reasons why people are being pushed out to be homeless left and right. We're always told, oh, you're worthless. You don't want to work. I work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week for $9.50. Like, yeah, I'm a pretty hardworking person. But we're always told how lazy we are, even from our parents, from the society, from especially Republicans. They love to pull that jazz. They're the number one attackers of everything. You work hard, you're getting attacked. You try to give them money, you're getting attacked. You do anything, and they're attacking you. That's all they know. I suppose maybe that's how you get rich, is you just attack everything constantly. I would never know. I'm not rich and I don't attack. I don't know. So, really, young people who are coming up right now, like, I'm so afraid of my kids. I have two kids that are about 12 now, and like, I'm so deathly afraid. Like, me and my wife don't know how we're going to keep ourselves in a home. I'm deathly afraid for my kids. So all the kids that are coming up that are like 17, 18, 19 right now, dude, listen to what I'm saying. Look at this video. I have solutions to what this crap has come to be that's the state of our union, which is not unionized at all. It's funny, we call it the state of the union. We're not unionized. Their unions have 5% membership right now. We are not unionized as a people at all. I can't go to Thanksgiving and talk to anyone. I got to hold my head and be quiet, and everybody else does too. Where's the freedom of speech? The parents are useless, couldn't help if they wanted to, and they don't want to, and they had it easy coming up. But all they do is blame, blame, blame. You're useless and lazy, and they don't understand that a major shift has happened. There used to be high-wage jobs when they were young, but they don't exist anymore. They've been shipped away, and they can't even comprehend this. I first tried to explain all this to my wife's family when I was 20. They told me I was just being negative. They told me it was all me. I'm like, but I took the loan. I did the work. I got the degree. I got A pluses. I'm a genius. I work hard. How is this my fault? But no, you try to tell anybody in America, hey, we shouldn't be sending jobs to other countries. Nobody even wants to talk about it. It's like you're talking to a brick wall. But this is the root of why nobody has a home to live in. I just can't believe that my fellow Americans are just willing to like lay down and die. Like, I thought this was supposed to be a strong country where like when you do wrong, people fight back. There really needs to be like a French Revolution in the United States, but I just don't see my fellow Americans being that strong. I really don't. And it's so sad. It's like, it just compounds the sadness. And then you throw on threats of nuclear war, pandemic. Come on, man. Is this what people need right now? You're just going to have like a flood of people killing themselves that are young because look at this mess, dude. At least if you're going to create nuclear annihilation and pandemic threats, at least have social programs so people can have a home and feel decent until those end times. But no, you're going to throw people out on the street? I'm watching as they're kicking people off of Section 8. No one wants to take Section 8. All these places where seniors were living, your mom, my mom, our parents are living on fixed incomes are being kicked out because now they want to charge $6,000 a month when they used to charge, $1,000. So now a bunch of seniors never thought ever. They just worked hard their whole life and thought they could just retire. Now they're being kicked out on the street. This is unbelievable what's happening. People living in their cars, like there's an explosion and there's no place to park. The police want to kick you out of your car when you're sleeping in it. What the hell is that? Really? No place to be, and they just gonna kick you out even more. Like, I just don't understand. I really don't understand. So, good families like mine, we're on the brink. We're into IT, technology. We don't do drugs. We don't do anything wrong. We don't, hurt ourselves in any way. We are not those kind of people. We are all about life. We care about others. We care about the health of the planet and the health of the people on it and all the life on the earth. We care about life thriving and succeeding. And my wife and I will no doubt be the last people that would ever be voted to do anything to change it. And I'm just like, dude, my strong American people, please don't just go into the night and die. Don't just go be homeless on the street. Don't just go kill yourself. This next young generation that has absolutely zero prospects or opportunities, heed my words. Band together, destroy capitalism because it's just a monster. I've come to realize that capitalists in the United States are throwing out huge amounts of food, electronics, housing, and human beings. The reason is, if they were to give their excess away for free, they're afraid it would change the prices of what they sell to the people that have money to buy it. So they throw away brand new electronics, expensive ones, straight to the landfill. This happens with food that could go to homeless people who are starving every night. And it's all about economics. They don't want people who have to pay for their food, who have bought their food, to have the prices go down or people get angry because they gave free excess to homeless people. And this is happening now in housing. Throwing away housing because it'll affect the prices that they're milking the people that have the money, so people can't have the excess housing that are homeless. This is what capitalism provides, and it's ridiculous. It is a waste, and it provides trash to build up on the earth to the point where there's nowhere to live. Because trash is everywhere, and there's no, earth left for people to live on. That's what we're doing here. It's what we've been doing for the last 100 years. And it just can't go on that way. It just cannot go on that way. People that need the electronics should get the overflow of electronics. And the people that are buying them should just shut up and keep buying them. People with money that want to go play in a capitalist system, you can do that in socialism. You see, socialism is about making sure that people that don't have money can still go to the doctor and get quality care. They can go have quality housing. They can have quality education. All the things that people need to live, they can have access to, even though they don't have money. And the people that have money can still go do all the private things they want to do. Go have their private insurance, their private education, their private whatever. Nobody cares. But we can't set up a system that says, this is only for the rich. The whole entire system's only for the rich. And if you're not rich, well, you can just die on the street. You know where your tent is. Good day. Dude, that is not a country that anybody wants to be a part of or anybody would want to move to. And you're starting to see videos like mine all over the place. Everybody's getting agitated at the evil that is just leeching our society to death. Now I'm afraid as people try to scramble into tiny home housing, they're going to jack up the rates of the land that you have to live off of to be in your tiny home, or just jack up the price of the tiny home. So even living in a tiny home is out of reach. And at that point, I don't know what Americans are going to do, man. If you got no money, it's hard to get to another country. If you don't have skills, which it's hard for Americans to get because they're so ripped off from education, it's hard to get to another country. Another country doesn't want you to come and be homeless over there and be a part of, a leech on their system. They want you to go there and contribute to their system, and I don't blame them. So the simple solutions are, the United States needs to make it illegal to send jobs to other countries. In Germany, it's illegal to send a job to another country. The people that work there have to vote on it, all of them, even the workers. And if there's a majority that says no, then they don't go anywhere. And even if they said yes, then the government has to go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure it's okay for them to do. You got to go through a lot of hoops to send jobs out of Germany. And that's how it's supposed to be. Germany just also so happens to be the economic powerhouse of all of Europe. And it's because they don't send their jobs away. They build everything. They work short work weeks, 30 hours, because they make so much money being efficient and not sending jobs away that they can work 30 hours and still make more than we do here for our similar jobs. I've been pushing recently for a green candidate. A green candidate that would come in, outlaw sending jobs overseas, so we could then, as Americans, be creative as we need to be, whatever we want to do, whatever the person's best at, they get to do and make a living at it. Why is that such a problem here? In the richest place on earth, where you can be anything you want to be, land of opportunity. Really? Then why are all these creative, amazing people with all these wonderful talents working in Amazon with no benefits for $9 an hour and get kicked out tomorrow because they farted too loud or they can't run while they do their job? Working 12 hours. Like we used to have, I was going to say this a minute ago, labor unions brought us things like 40-hour work week, weekends off, medical benefits. Like we owe all these things to labor unions, and now the labor unions are gone. Well, so are all the benefits, and so are all the decent jobs. Like we need to unionize big time in this country. We need socialism so the rich can go play their little rich games, but the rest of us that aren't rich can still survive. That's what socialism is in a nutshell, and it needs to be here. We need socialism as our economic system. We need Green Party candidates that are going to create jobs by cleaning up the environment. We can't just all be little, keep our head down and try to make money and push our little buttons to keep that check rolling while we're all contributing to the death of the planet. Because guess what? Eventually, even the richest world comes down. Even the rich people get to die someday when they pollute this place beyond the earth being able to sustain life. And all we've done as young idiots is come up and rely on what we're taught by the generations before us, by our elders. We expect them, as young people, we expect the elders to have done right and to come up with a plan and a solution and a system that's right by now. It's only been 400 years they've had to get this right. But yet, as an 18-year-old today in this society, you get to look around and see they've done nothing right. They've been leeches for 400 years, and now it's just getting worse. We're heading into Charles Dickens' England, where beggars are outside the windows of the rich begging for scraps while they're in there having lavish parties and laughing and throwing nothing to the poor, letting them die outside the window of their homes. That's literally what we're going into right now. We are going back to feudal times of like 1800s. And it's all because American society just can't get anything straight for being kind. Like kindness is the word that has completely been eradicated from the United States culture. It is not a value that is valued at all in the United States. Kindness, compassion, sharing, community, those things are like hated in America. We are told to be independent and strong and pull yourself up in your bootstraps, even if you got no boots. So we're told, go ahead and thrive and be successful with no investment in you at all. You live in the forest, be successful. Show us all how it's done. Okay, I'm going to go with a chainsaw and build myself a tiny home and live on a patch of land where I collect rainwater and I have solar panels. You going to let me live? No. Oh, so I go and try to pull myself up from my bootstraps and you're still there to take it away from me. Dude, this whole society is lies and garbage. It's lies and garbage. I should be able to go to any plot of land with my tiny home and live in peace. Rainwater and solar power. Leave me alone. I'm going to grow my crops. I'm going to live in a little patch of dirt out in the forest, and I'm going to live in And society is ready to take that away from people. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why society is hell bent on trying to kill people. And this is not what you understand when you're young and you're 18. You think society's there to generate people, to promote people, to celebrate life. But in fact, you find you live in a country that is there desperately trying at every single angle to snuff your life. I always get to hear about property rights, and all the rich people are all about property rights. Oh, all our property rights. You don't get to touch our property. You got property rights. But yet I watch the community come in and destroy all the property of the homeless people. Well, what happened to their property rights? And certainly it hurts someone to take away their few possessions when they're homeless far more than it does to take away anything from Bill Gates and the likes, the robber barons of today, the American oligarchs. Shoot, at least in Russia, they have a leader, Putin, who works with the oligarchs. Dude, we don't even have that. We just have oligarchs dictating everything. It's a fascist dictatorship from a small group of rich people in the United States. There is no democracy. It's oligarchs just trying to suppress the poor masses. That's all it is. I feel horrible for any human being that actually comes here to try to have a better life. Dude, you'll be living in a tent on the street and be kicked out of that and pushed up the street because they don't even want you there. I watched as police bring automatic weapons to keep people off of Venice Beach. People have nowhere to live, so they camp on Venice Beach. Armed police sent there. What, are they just going to shoot them? If these people refuse, is society just going to watch as police just mow down a bunch of people living in tents and say, time to fill out a report? Wow. Wow.